It's this
Yeah,
pair of
yeah, and you didn't need a lot of clothing because the
no.
girls weren't one of the girls wasn't dressed for a while,
Yeah.
but and I'm always so jealous of people that can get naked like that,
Yeah.
and just not be
Well, she's
totally embarrassed.
European too,
Yeah,
and I think that makes a big difference.
yeah.
Yeah.
Did you do a lot of nude modeling?
I did a lot of topless, not nude.
I remember seeing
Um,
wasn't a photo
yeah.
a topless cover?
Photo is topless.
That
Yeah,
was a pretty photo.
that came from Vanity Fair. That was
Alright.
a like a 21-page spread in Vanity Fair, and then she took, Dominica Simon was the photographer, and she took an, outtake from
Mhm.
that and made it the cover of
So
French
back in the
Photo.
day when you were working, in Europe and doing lots of covers, what photographers did you work with?
Dominica Simon was
Mhm.
the one that, I worked with the most,
Right.
and she was the probably, at least in my opinion, the most iconic French photographer, so I was kind of happy just
Mhm.
there. And, I worked with Fabrizio Ferri. I worked with, I mean, I worked with a lot of photographers,
Yeah.
I don't know, but
Yeah, it's hard to remember everybody,
you put
right?
me on the spot, I'm
No,
like,
that's
"I don't
okay.
know,
We'll
who
send
did
you a
I
mail
work with?"
email to thank you
Yeah,
later.
but I you know, I it's a crazy business,
Yeah, it
yeah.
is a crazy business, and I was just saying earlier how I was minding my own business one night watching TV, and which after a long week of work, I like to just watch my 60 Minutes because it's one
Yeah.
of my favorite shows, and I saw your face pop up talking about something, and I'm like, "What is this?" And I tuned in, and it was, Carrie Otis
Mhm.
speaking about some really horrible things that happened to
Yeah,
her back in the modeling days by some of the guys that used to run Elite, right?
yeah. Gerald
S
Marie was the
Yeah.
owner of Paris, Elite Paris, and
Those guys got away
um
with murder.
yeah, well, they're animals. I mean,
Yeah,
like, if you really think about the time we grew up in pre-internet, right?
yeah,
I mean, they're complete animals.
and
And
pre-Me Too, and
pre-Me
pre
Too.
everything. Those poor girls
Yeah,
got
yeah,
so abused, and,
yeah,
I heard it's, like, worse than we even know. I think,
yeah.
even here with the American elite, there was a lot of stuff that was going
Well,
on.
yeah, because right now with Carrie's, for instance, Carrie Otis that you
Yeah,
mentioned, she was able to take advantage of the Child Victims Act. I work together with Model Alliance. I'm a member of Model Alliance who's they've passed 3 laws in New York to help models. Two of them were to help survivors. One was the
mhm,
Child Victims Act, one was the Adult Survivors Act. And then they've just passed the Fashion Workers Act. So that's the first time models actually have any type of legislation to protect their rights. So that's been amazing.
mhm.
But with Carrie's case, she's actually doing involved in a human trafficking case from Elite New York. Then she was trafficked, as an underage straight into the bed of Gerald
That
Marie,
is just horrific.
literally into the bedroom
They
because
put her
they
in his
they
house,
put her in
right?
his
In
house.
his daughter's room.
Yeah, in his daughter's room, and that's where he, abused her, for months on end in their daughter's room, and she couldn't, you know, back then, you owe a lot of money to the agency. They hold your passports, they do this, they do that, so it's very hard to kind of,
Terrible.
get your autonomy back once you're, under their thumb. And so that was really hard. And it's not like it's over. I mean, even when you look at Me Too,
Mhm.
coming forward, when we had like Mario Testino kicked out of the
Oh god,
industry,
I know.
who, Terry Richardson, who they're trying to bring back. Like, I mean, he's like one of the most disgusting pigs ever, and they're trying to bring him back. He shot a campaign recently. And with Mario Testino, like the other day, I was going through my feed and I see a post of this guy who, like he helped trap this one of the kids in Model Alliance, Kenny Sale, one of the boys.
Mhm,
He
mhm.
helped trap him in a bathroom so that Mario
Oh,
Testino could, sexually, abuse him. And I see him coming through my feed. I mean, he was at Arthur Elgort's, Fahi Klein exhibition, and it's like, how many times do you have to, warn the fashion industry that you've got these predators? I mean, that was the same guy who had death threats against my kids when I got violently strangled when I was working, shooting an artist for Atlantic Records, and I had to sue Atlantic. And so, someone like an Omar Alberto, he's going to get away. The larger person will take the case, and all of the enablers or the people participants, they escape, the publicity that's going to happen with it. They escape getting in trouble, having to pay for things, pay back for restitution for when you sue for somebody for, abusing you. So, So that's what we're still dealing with. I mean, they're still there. I mean, the dragons from my time are
Yeah.
still
I
breathing,
know, and they're still
you
they're
know?
still out there. It's still happening in the
Yeah,
music business with P.
yeah.
Diddy and Epstein and
Yes.
all. It's just still
And
happening,
it was
and to men
and it
as
was like a P. Diddy back
it
then. I mean,
sound.
it's the same thing. I mean, when I was in New York, P. Diddy was there at those times. I mean, again, this is all remnants from an era that should be a bygone era. You know,
Mhm.
it really should be a bygone era. These people shouldn't be allowed back in, not because you want to punish them. They can get a job doing something else. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? But why should you give them privilege to do, come back in when they've shown that they're unprofessional, when they're working? And
Yeah.
so, find a different job, find a different thing to do. You don't have to shoot women like,
I know it's
you know,
such a it is such a
yeah. And
predatory business.
boys,
I know, and to the
yeah,
men also,
yeah,
these I mean, it sounds like no, people talk less about that. I think it's more shameful
yeah,
for men to bring things like that up, but I think
yeah.
it's happening to a lot of the young men out there,
It
which
is.
is probably why both of us weren't interested in having our sons
Mm-mm.
become models because I know they both were asked to.
It's the Paris charm.